Hi, I'm StaceyJ and this is my studio. And today is my Sit-Down Sundays with StaceyJ. Is it Sunday Sit-Down? Sit-Down Sundays. Anyway, I'm sitting down and it's Sunday. It's Easter Sunday to be precise. Who got cookies out there? Yeah, I didn't. I got a chocolate bar from my mum, which is a peppermint dark chocolate Whittaker's. Yum. Apparently I'm hungry. Okay, I wanted to sit down and talk to you about fashion versus style. I want to talk to you about this mainly because I haven't ever been the kind of girl that has had the body shaping to follow fashion. Now I've got a lot of these little books here and there's some really awesome facts. Fashion, hidden facts of fashion. Do you know that in 1950s, the size 8 in 1950s is smaller than what a size 8 is today? So we have complementary sizing nowadays. Just thought I'd share that little fun piece of information with you. I wanted to tell you, there was something I read in here about the fashion, history and style. Heinrich Stoll invented the flatbed pearl knitting machine back in the 1900s. Isn't that just the Burberry trench coat was used in the British Army in World War One. I'm going to let that dog out because that dog is going to bark any second now and I don't want to be a part of it. I'm coming, Mabel. The chances are that by the time, or before I finish this, we will be annoyed by her again. So I want to talk to you about fashion versus style. I know that fashion changes at a blink of an eye. We've had the 20s, we've had the 40s, we've had the 50s, the 60s, the 80s, the 70s, and each one of them gave a different look. I'm going to find it in here, and I'm going to say to you what they were. Okay, so in the fashions in the 1990s was the Edwardian era and the Parisian haute couture, and in 1910 was the Oriental era in World War One. In the 1920s, the fashion was the Roaring Twenties. In the 30s, it was Hollywood's influence and World War Two. Too much gap between those wars, did they? 1940s is the era of utility clothing. You think about that, going into the war, Americans' ready-to-wear industry developed in response to wartime clothing regulations, and the Americans' look was created. Okay, remember that little "you can do it" that picture there? Yeah. That postcard's a hit nowadays. Okay, in the 1950s, it was the rise of the ready-to-wear. The 1960s was flower power era and ethnic folkloric. 1970s was the me decade and the rise of the anti-fashion. Okay, that's when they didn't wash their clothes. Don't know much about the 70s. 1980s. Power dressing and yuppie era. Remember those great big shoulder pads? I reckon 1980s had the best music and the worst clothing and the worst hair. Just saying. I am just saying. 1990s era of personal expression. 2000s is the rise of fast fashion. Now, fast fashion, I did Victoria was doing not fashion at school, but you know how when you go to high school you touch everything and you go through and say, well, do you want to do this, right? So in year 9 which is equivalent in Australia to grade 8. No idea overseas. And she did fashion, and fast fashion was one of them. And although, you know how you know stuff, but you really get to know stuff when your kids ask you to help. So anyway, so fast fashion, okay, and the 2010s is actually the rise of slow fashion, okay. I think a lot of the fast fashion, slow fashion has got to do with our environmental awareness and that sort of thing. Okay, so those are the fashion zones that we've had in our lives. Okay, and I don't follow fashion. I don't. I see something, I like it, I can gel with it, and then I want to wear it. Okay, I couldn't wear the little shoestring tops with the little no bra on. I do not have the ability to have no bra on. I haven't been able to have the ability to have no bra on since I was about 13. So I have always had a bra and always conscious of my bra strap showing, and that sort of stuff. And you just didn't do that. So I couldn't accommodate the no bra look. Maybe if I was in my teens and the 70s, I'd just throw that stuff off and throw it into the fire. So I haven't been able to do that. And then what else? I couldn't do low cut jeans because I've got nothing to hold them up. Okay, anything that's going to hold it up is above the low cutness. However, the low cut looks and makes my body look longer than it actually is. It's just, I look ridiculous trying to pull it up. And because where my chunky monkey bits are, they just pile over the top of those jeans, you know. So my style, what is my style? My style is, a few years back when I was thinner, obviously not a size 8, when I was thinner, I was really into the vintage era of the 50s and the 60s. But I'd chuck in a bit of the 70s, left out the 80s. But what I did have is, due to my body, and we've talked about this on one of my other sit downs, is I don't have the body shape to wear a full skirt from the waist. That's just not how I'm built. And back when I was a child, I always thought I just had a really fat waist. It was because when I put pants on that were waist, came up to the waist, they didn't come up to my waist. They sat in a thicker part of my hip, meaty back. I'm not 100% sure what you call it. But anyway, it didn't fit. So my whole brain was, I got a fat waist. I didn't. It was just inches above it, okay? So to make them fit, I'd pull them up. They'd go up my butt, which I didn't have a butt. So, you know, and then I'd find jeans and I was like, okay, they fit my waist. But there was absolutely nothing going on in the butt area. So it looked like I dootied my pants. And I hadn't dootied my pants, not for years and years and years. So I find the shape that suits my shape. Find the silhouette of what I'm wearing to suit my silhouette of my body. It's a big silhouette, but it's a silhouette nonetheless. I told you should be back. So when I wore the 50s and the 60s clothes, I always did the pencils. So they would come down and around and down, and that highlighted my body really well. And with having a small rump, I actually looked quite smaller. It was an optical illusion, but I looked quite smaller because I did have the smaller bottom. And my bust was a little bit smaller then too. Thank goodness, could you imagine this and this? head first down. So I've had that sort of style. I like collared shirts. I like a tailored look. Have for years and years, and I would find myself now, probably in the last couple of years, going into a more of a drapey look. Still, I want it to fit. The Maple digs at the front door mat. Drives my brain insane. Anyway, so I want to do a drapey look, but I don't want layers of drapey on myself. Okay, an ironing board. Take an ironing board, okay, and lay a piece of cloth over it. That looks like an ironing board with a piece of cloth laying nicely over it, right? Then lay another layer of cloth, and then another layer of cloth, and another layer of cloth. That ironing board will get bigger. We're all size 10s. It just depends on how much ironing you've got on the board. Okay? So rather than go there and look at the fashion that's here at the minute, look at the style that emphasizes and celebrates your own silhouette. Okay, I was talking about the Stylark Sydney dress, and how through my laziness I didn't do a bust adjustment, but it hung straight down from my bust. I've always had that. Okay, I've always had a shirt without darts, or that isn't in panels, will always hang off my bust and make me look tubby. Okay, I am tubby, but I do go in. So I want to emphasize that. So I want something, I love princess seamed shirts, because I can go around my bust and under my bust. I have an under my bust. I have one. I do. I'm not confident with my body at the minute. I'm dealing with the pause, and I'm wrapping my head around it, and it's okay. I'm okay. I'm in a good place-ish. But I love those, because that can really define you. Yep, okay. So this is probably really mean. I've always done a lot. I've done a lot of bra shopping with my mother, and I've done a lot of tog shopping with my mother. My mother and I, we get along fine until the days we don't, but we get along fine, right? And we do a lot together, always have, except for when I lived in Sydney and she didn't. So we've always had a relationship where we can go shopping and we can look at things, and we're kind of like-minded with not our styles, but about clothing. And I've been like that for many, many years, although I didn't sew when I was living at home the first time. I've gone back to home many a time. So before I was a big grown-ass girl and joined the military, we'd go shopping all the time, and we were very, very honest of what we thought of each other's clothing. Often was just a symbol of, like, don't even put it on the rack. We don't just get it on the rack. So we've always been quite like-minded, and we've always gone shopping. But anyway, back, lost track. Sorry, Karina. So I've gone bra shopping with my mum and tog shopping with my mum. Now, my mum is also well covered in the bustier area. Thank you. That's where I get it from. Yay, genetics. And so she's always fitted me properly and all that sort of stuff. And now I can fit people because I was trained in it. But anyway, thought I'd throw that out there. Not that I want to see anyone's girls. Mine are bad enough. Anyway, so I was in the change rooms this one time with my mum, and I was doing up my bra, and I said, what is this? Why have I got old man fat back? And she said, what? And I said, old man fat back. She says, how do you mean? I said, well, you know, when men get old, they get that little under their backs. And it's because I'm compact just because I'm compact in the body part, it's got nowhere to go. You know, I didn't fall out to my hips. It's in the body part, so it rolls. Anyway, so we have actually been in hysterics on very, very numerous, lots of occasions. And let's just say we've almost peed our pants on more than one time, laughing at each other and with each other and all that sort of stuff in hysterics. Anyway, back to the old man fatback. So we got our old man fatback, and I think that the princess seam blouse, if you make it so it fits you properly, you don't see it. It skims over the top of it. You know? So just because it is fitting, it doesn't need to be skin tight. Okay, so this is another angle where I'm getting really, really agitated with the difference between ease and style. Every garment you put on has some form of ease, whether it's negative ease or it's ease. Negative ease when it's in a stretch item like tights, togs, some t-shirts, singlets, cami tops, all those done in a 4-way stretch, 2-way stretch, they will definitely, or most probably, have a negative ease about them. Okay, so it shapes you properly. A lot of times you can get away without doing some of the alterations you require because the stretch fits to your body. Okay, so back to this ease. Now, I've mentioned it a couple of times now. Ease is meant to be, traditionally, should be 10 centimetres in the bust, 10 centimetres over the hips, and 5 centimetres around the waist. So 4, 2, 4. And that is for comfort of wear, movement, seating, and all that. So you know when you sit down and you spread. I know I spread and I still have a small butt. So if my small butt spreads, you spread. It's the way, it's the law of nature. It's like waving and your whole arm goes with you, right? It's the law. So the law is that that's what it is meant to be. That is ease. And each item of clothing should have a different amount of ease. You start off with your bra. What sort of ease are we going to have with your bra? Minimal ease, isn't there? Because that's got to hold the girls in and up. It depends on your undies, what you want. Then you go to your next layer. You've got your cami. Your cami is made of a 4-way stretch. You've got negative ease. That's the... Don't know what he's doing. That's got the negative ease going on, okay? And then you go to your shirt. Your shirt will have the normal standard ease. Then you go from your shirt to your jacket to your coat. Right, so by rights, you should be buying the same size in every garment. So you would buy, don't worry about the bra, a size 12 cami, a size 12 shirt, a size 12 jacket, and a size 12 coat, because every one of those items has a different level of ease because of where it is worn on your body. A coat needs more ease because the functionality of a coat, big word for a Sunday, the functionality of a coat is to be worn over your clothes, is an outer garment. So it shouldn't be the next size up or the next size up. It should be the same size. That's how it works. So that's the difference between, well, it's not. So then you go with another. I don't think you call it ease when it is your style. That is how the style is. So I looked at my mannequin because that's where the Sydney dress has been. So the Sydney dress, the style is to come out in a cocoon and go back in, okay? There's tons of leg room down the bottom. It's not tight in or anything like that. But it is to be cocooned out. So that means that the garment will be bigger because of the style of the garment, right? So if you get a blouse that is full of gathers there across the bust, full of gathers around the sleeve, into a cuff down the bottom, it is going to have a shed load of fabric, okay? And it is meant to be that style. You start taking fabric out because it's too much for your actual size. I'm not saying take it out if you don't need a full bust adjustment, let's just get rid of half the fabric, right? The fabric itself is there to serve a purpose of the style of the person who designed it. So that's the difference between style and ease in the finished product, size, fabric, garment. Right? Does that make sense? It's just that the reason my Sydney dress was so big was I did not pick the right size. And I am, I did it, my fault, my bad, okay? It also rides big, but that's fine. I rather it ride big than small because there's nothing worse than choking the girls to death, and I don't like to do that. So that's with your style and your ease, and back to style versus fashion. So my style was always tight and things like that. I love jeans with shirts. I love stripes. Ask Mum. That was my style. It was a tailored look. It wasn't the boho look, which falls into the fashion because it's come back into fashion, but it is also a style, okay? So you can be boho-y. You could have a boho style, but with the fashion blurts of it coming out, you don't have to follow that. Boho style is the old hippie style from the 70s. I mean, crikey dicks. I think I got a pair of jeans Mum gave me when I was smaller. Can't fit now, maybe on my leg. That's how tiny my mum was. Yeah, that came straight from the 70s, and I'd get away with wearing them today. It's wide leg pants. You know, chuck some denim, cut some ritz in it, make yourself a macrame vest. Don't know if that's going to keep you warm, but that's the style of the boho. I've got women here walking around dressed in little tops and full skirts. Their style, they've picked their style as a vintage 1950s, 50s. You know, it's just that I still like to wear the vintage clothing. Unfortunately, out of the thousands and thousands and thousands of patterns I do own, they are actually based for a size 16, which is what I was when I was smaller. Don't forget, size 8 is a lot smaller than what a size 8 is then. So I was actually a little smaller. Got a bit smaller. Damn paws. Anyway, so that's what I wanted to talk about. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to tell you some facts of fashion. I got these beautiful, beautiful books. The Hidden Facts of Fashion, Fashiontopedia, like encyclopedia, and this here, Textilepedia, and this is amazing for all your fabrics, cashmere, wool, two things that are so basic. Come on, Stacey. Mohair, yak. Yakety yak, don't talk back. So it gives you the characteristics of it. So a yak, it's soft, it's shiny, more luxurious than wool, retains warmth, being 10 to 15% warmer than wool. Okay, in the 1800s, there were numerous yaks in Tibet. After the 1900s, they were hunted almost to extinction. They are also considered vulnerable species because of their interbreeding with domestic cattle. That's not cool. It has made a welcome addition to the marketplace that is growing weary of cashmere. I don't think my mum can wear cashmere because it makes its skin like itchy. And she knitted this one beautiful jumper. My mum knits, and sometimes I acquire some of the knitting. Anyway, she knitted this purple. It's got like a wool, and everyone admires it when I wear it. And I say, my mummy made it. And yeah, sometimes just, I don't know, it's not all the time, but sometimes it's scratch. So just little fun facts. Angora, it goes through. You want to know something about a fabric, just ask me. Spandex, lightweight, smooth, soft, relatively weak as a fiber, but stronger and more durable than rubber. I don't want to wear rubber, I'll tell you that much for nothing. Excellent elasticity. Pill resistant, oils and perspiration resistant, mildew and insect resistant. It's like the cockroach that won't die in the microwave, really, isn't it? Takes dye well, wrinkle resistant, abrasion resistant, and anti-static. Spandex will be your friend. So it goes through like jersey, plain knit, double jersey, burlap, right, buckram. I do believe buckram. No, is it burlap? I'm trying to think what it was. But I've got a book of fabrics, you know. You talk about a fabric. Stacey knows. She's got it. And then I've got the fashion business manual. Okay, an illustrated guide to building the fashion brand. Information overload. It's fantastic. I love sitting down and reading these. Some people like to sit down and read cookbooks. I love sitting down, and I have so many books on how to sew. I've been sewing in excess of 33 years, and I still buy them. I just like looking at the pictures. Sometimes you forget something, but yeah. So hidden facts about fashion. Okay, well, I told you here. I'll go on with the size 8 in the 1950s. It's much smaller than today's size 8. The question is, what size are you? An often tricky one. We all know that different brands and manufacturers have different standards, but did you know your size also varies in history? You might be wearing a size 0 now, but back in the 1950s, someone with that exact same measurement as you might have been wearing a size 8. Let's look at the iconic model Twiggy as an example. During the peak of her fame in the 1960s, she was 5'6" tall, weighed 112 pounds, and was a size 8. In today's size standard, she'll be wearing a size 00. But why? The shifting size is a fashion industry hack called vanity sizing. So I didn't call it that. I called it something very, very similar. A clever way to flattering size, yeah. A very way to flatter women's ego to make them feel slimmer, more confident, and that, as a result, spend more money shopping for clothes. It's not about the number. It's about the fit. And that's what it is. I know people still will look at their fabric sizes that they buy in the shop, and then cut out that size when they're making a garment, not realizing it's not that number that counts. What counts, what numbers count when you're making your own garments are what your body says it is, not what you go down to the shop and buy something. Okay, it is not always that much prettier. I made something the other day that was a size, there you go, the wide leg pants. They don't have numbers, they have letters. I'm still quite a ways into the alphabet, but it has letters. Don't worry about the number. Worry about how you feel in the garment you make. Worry about your style, not the fashion that's turning over every 3 to 4 years, okay? If you feel confident in something, that becomes your style. I'm not saying you feel confident black, wear black. I'm saying if you feel confident in a certain style of something, whether it's a boot leg, a wide leg, a 3/4 leg. I know one girl, every time she bought jeans, she'd bring them to me to shorten them to 3/4. I said, but these are jeans. She says, yeah, I don't want jeans. I don't like jeans. I don't like things coming down to my ankle. That was her style. That's who she was. I'm the opposite. I just got to touch my ankles. Anyway, I think I have rattled and prattled on enough for one sit down. And I would like to thank you all for taking the time to sit down with me